told me to just be myself. I'm sorry, Charles. I can't control myself. Zlata did it to me. She's like, I haven't done shit.
This was always there. Radical responsibility. All right, I'm going to put her out of her misery. Let's all take a deep breath.
Can I just ask you, have you ever read Pussy the Reclamation?
Pussy the Reclamation. Oh, what am I missing?
Phenomenal book. Like all about women empowerment and how badass your vagina is. That's where I got like all the details on the clit. I couldn't believe it. I think you have like 8,000 nerve endings in, you know, the size of a pencil eraser. That's why we just basically, sometimes I come so hard, I'm dying. Stop. Like, I think that I can't breathe. The other functions aren't working. And it's just like, holy cow. And it always is crazy to me that no matter how hard a guy comes, I'm like, it's like 10% of what I feel. I'm sorry.
So have your orgasms gotten more intense with time? Or were they always intense?
My orgasms were always good, but they've gotten better the more I know myself. Does that make sense?
So is it your responsibility to make sure that you have an orgasm, or is it a guy's responsibility to make sure you have an orgasm?
I think that is such a good question. I think that depends on your purpose for sex. So a lot of times, I just know Charles knows me so well. He knows what buttons to push. Sometimes I try to evade him. Like not let him get me off because I want to play, right? But I do think that sometimes it's fun for the man if he is confident in pleasing you to let him have that. He wants it to be his. He wants to own that he did it. He gave it to you, right? But then also I think that there are times when he might be tired, but I know we need to connect. And I know that it's not that he's not feeling me. He's not feeling anything right now. And so I feel like, hey, let me be the instigator here. And if I'm instigating, then I'm taking responsibility for us both to be pleased. So to me, it's kind of like inviting out to dinner. Whoever invites takes care. And so I like that way. But granted, I'm in a relationship. It's a marriage, right? So that might be different if I was single. Is that what you wanted? Like, did that answer?
That answered my question.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question was, who leads in bed? But you kind of answered that question, right? Like the one who's inviting?
Yeah, the one who's starting. And I think that and you probably feel this way too, I don't know, different men have different desires. Charles likes to run the show. I know that's shocking.
Shocking.
I know, it's shocking. He wants to. But every once in a while, he wants to throw the reins over too, you know? And that works for me because in my mind, I love being ravished. I feel like I'm a boss bitch all day. Can I just go home and be the queen? Be the one that you're going to take care of. You're going to show me how it's done. You're going to please lay some pipe. Man, I'll be here all day. Like, yeah, that just works for us. So it fills both of our needs. But I think everybody has different desires and you just have to find out like, hey, are we compatible in that? Or even if you both want to equally be the leader, can you take turns and be satisfied? Then great. It's really about communication.
So for me, when I started taking responsibility, again, radical responsibility for my orgasm, for me to get off in bed, I stopped being resentful over men who would come first or wouldn't get me off in the ways that I wanted to. Yeah. I realized that this was my responsibility as a single woman dating.
Yeah.
That
you're sexually fulfilled.
And I mean, 70 pages later.
You figured it out, man.
I figured it out. There was some figuring out that happened.
Yeah. How often would you say you don't have to answer this, but I'm curious. How often would you say that men came before you did?
Before I realized that this was my responsibility, maybe 70% of the time, 80% of the time.
Okay, can you tell me what you mean by your responsibility?
Like for me to guide them and tell them and show them and connect with them necessary in a way to push my buttons and what I actually really liked in bed and to be really playful about it.
Oh, I like that. And I like that you said be playful about it. I feel like that's key. You're not trying to emasculate them just because they don't know what it takes to get you off because you're new. Like it's a new toy, man.
Like
I don't know.
Everyone works different.
Yeah. Yeah. So a playful way that I think is key in any relationship is can you play with each other? Play during sex, play during fights, play during real life, play during laundry. That's the key to making it work. because we have to play. Everything is so serious, so stressful, so much pressure. Can we just let our guard down and remember that like life can be fun?
That's when my dating really shifted, is when I started looking at it, taking away like, oh, dating is my life purpose, or dating has to look this way, or I'm dating for marriage, or I'm
You're like
dating
on the
for
hunt.
this. I'm on the hunt for a husband.
Oh.
Right. And I was like, how could this be fun? How could this be interesting? And I made a list of 100 things I wanted to do. I wanted to do with a person that I'm romantically involved with. And I was like, I'm gonna do these 100 things, whether this guy is my partner or this is the guy I met on Raya or on Hinge, and I'm gonna have a damn good time. Because
love
if
it.
I have to sit through another boring dinner, I'm just going to pass out. I would rather stay home. And it doesn't matter how awesome you are. It's just exhausting in this day and age to be dating, because I have to give somebody my, life story elevator pitch. But why don't we just go do something together and create a memory together?
Yeah. I read this article one time that said that the best first dates are the ones that terrify you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So fear is such a strong memory enhancer that if you take someone on a date and you scare them, they will never, whether or not you guys end up together, who knows, but they will never forget that date. And I had that happen to me. What do you have on that?
No, tell me about this.
So a guy took me out to, I don't even know what you would call it, but like a playland in Dallas. And there was a huge...
Was there like whips everywhere, or is this an actual
and
playland?
balls that you put in your mouth. And I don't understand what they were for, but...
Right.
He was just like, shh, no more talking. You just put this in your mouth for a moment.
I'm waiting for a guy to do that to me because I talk a lot.
They're used to it.
I'm waiting for a guy to just be like, shh.
Give it time. Just like I said, you never want to slap him. Give it time. It'll happen.
Yeah, I think.
Anyway, he took me to this play thing and we went bungee, like fake bungee jumping. It wasn't off a cliff. It was off of, some erected piece of metal, but it did terrify me. And I still have not forgotten that date. We didn't end up doing anything after, but it wasn't for lack of a, good date. He did
And
well.
it was fun for him, I bet.
Oh, yeah, he had a great time. I had a great time. I got to do something that I wouldn't have done. It hadn't popped into my mind to do it that way before. And so it was great. I was like, good job for him.
If you're having a hard time dating right now, make a list of 100 things that you would want to do with a person.
Yeah. And start
and go doing it.
Yeah.
So my next adventure that I want to go on is I want to go on a hot air balloon ride.
God, yes.
But I also want to DJ.
While you're doing it?
While we're in a hot air balloon ride.
Ooh.
I think it would be really fun. This is an ideal date for somebody who's a photographer, videographer, or somebody who's, also a DJ. Could be a B2B type situation. But we could have an amazing time doing it. B2B goes back to back. Back to back, meaning I play 2 tracks, you play 2 tracks.
Oh, I was trying to find the sexual understanding.
Yeah, she was like, "Where's the Eiffel Tower in this B2B?"
Dildo.
No.
Okay.
No. So I think it could be really, really. It could really elevate your dating life.
And who cares about the dating life? It will elevate your own life because you're doing the things that make you happy. And then if you just happen to meet someone who also enjoys these crazy things that you've deemed the 100 things you want to do, that's awesome. That's how you find people that you mesh with. Just do the shit.
On a dating profile, you can always tell what a guy is into, right? So unless the 2 things that should never belong on a dating profile is your dog and your dead fish.
What about your dog licking your face?
Oh, I can't. Because you know what this makes me think? If you have a dog in your dating profile and the dog is in your mouth, I'm like, oh, you already have 1 bitch. Why do you need 2?
Do you also have worms?
Oh, it's just like I can't. I'm not even a germaphobe. I'm constantly trying to share with people for unknown reasons, but that I just can't do. Men who are obsessed with their dogs, you know what I think that really is? This is a way that an emotionally unavailable man puts somebody in between you and them.
Oh,
so they can disassociate. They can guard themselves through attending to their dog's needs first.
Wow.
So they don't have to actually get close to you. I don't have anything against dogs. I'm not a dog hater.
You mean you had one?
I had dog. I mean, Zusi was so sweet. Zusi was so sweet. So I love dogs. I think they're amazing. But I do believe that dogs are now walls between an actual partnership because either party, men or women, both guilty, cannot connect.
Or choosing not to.
Or choosing not to connect. rather. But the rant that I was originally on
Yes.
is if you are dating, put on your dating profile what you like to do. Like, okay, your first picture is, okay, cool, I'm cute. Okay, got that, bro. What are you into? What do you like?
What are you doing with your free time?
What are you doing with your free
What are you
time?
aspiring to be?
Exactly.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head the other day when we were talking about finding people who have the same vision as you versus finding people that you have common denominators with that you've already experienced. So we're not looking for the things that you've already done. Okay, great. You went to college. Okay, great. We connect on that.
So you went to
Where are you
college
going?
here. Like, I can't. So unless I'm building a legacy type of partnership where you're Ivy League at, like, let's say you're a guy. And you will say that you will only date a woman from an Ivy League school, then put your Ivy League education on your profile. But a lot of guys put like, oh, I went to Princeton or Harvard or whatever. Like, I get that you're bragging and I get that gives you bragging rights. But like,
I'm like, where's the certificate?
but a woman like me, I don't care where you went to school.
You know how many resumes I've seen where they say they went to school somewhere and they didn't go to school there?
No
I know,
way.
I don't give a shit where you say you went to school.
Wait, how do you verify that?
You could just call and find out.
So you have called like Ivy
didn't
League
do
school
it.
or Princeton or whatever?
Well, no, I didn't have any Ivy League school or Princeton in construction, but you just have your HR department reach out. Yeah.
And people
had
never went to school where they said they went to school?
People lie, dude. And the funniest part is, like, I know someone, I didn't know him personally, but know someone who had to fire someone because it was a requirement of the job. I'm like, when it's in the job requirements and you lie about it and then HR finds out about it, they're going to terminate you. Like, did you think it wasn't going to come out? Yeah.
Well, it's like the same in a relationship, right? If
Like
you said
he didn't cheat on her, she's going to find out. Like, she's going to figure it out.
there was a guy who was telling me about his summer in Stanford and all these different things. And I come to find out he never went to Stanford.
Yeah, see? There was also a guy who told you that his friend's butt plug was, was only in his car because he let his friend borrow his car. Like, you let your friend borrow your car and somehow his butt plug ended up in there and you kept it for him?
So this is an actual story that happened.
Shit's funny.
Like, I called Elisha and I was like hyperventilating, right? So the story goes like this. We have a shared car because at the time I had just moved to LA and I was cleaning out the car because I am
You're
like
responsible.
I'm also OCD. So I'm in the glove compartment, right? Like, and I pull out this black pouch, like this black velvet
Always in a
pouch.
black pouch.
And I'm like, this is really interesting. And then I'm like, of course I'm going to look. It's a black pouch. So next thing you know, I'm like,
It's like that big.
and it was literally the largest size anal plug you can possibly think of in my boyfriend's, at the time, glove compartment.
Could his ass fit it?
I was shocked.
I mean, I would have just taken it to bed and been like, hey, babe, let's play with some new toys.
I think I just was
Knocked it out.
frozen in a driver's seat, like in a driver's seat on a driveway with just like a butt plug and a black pouch. Like,
But did you disinfect your hands afterwards?
I washed my hands. You bet your ass.
So you're not even a germaphobe.
Pun
Bet your
intended.
ass.
Pun intended.
even a germaphobe.
And he was standing. He was actually happened to walk by me at
Get
the
out.
time, and I was like, "Could you help me understand?" And he was like, "Yeah, my friend was, my friend's gay, and he was borrowing my car, and it's blah blah blah." And I was even more shocked at the response
At the lie.
because we know it's a lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I think people that are lying, it's just so intriguing. You're like, I'm just going to sit here and let you continue.
But at the time, we are in a long-term relationship. That, I've been driving that car for 9 months.
And you didn't know the butt plug was
I
floating
did
around
not know
in there?
that was there. In fact, I know it wasn't there before. So where were you
I just
and
can
what were you
envision you.
doing? Like, I'm totally okay if you swing both ways.
Yeah, you just have to say it.
You just have to say it.
honest.
And then I get to make my decisions and my conclusions based on that, whether I'm like, I'm okay with that or
And
not.
maybe he doesn't swing both ways. Maybe he just likes a big eggplant in his ass every once in a while. It's not a big deal.
This is why you send people checklists. You know what I
All I
mean?
can imagine, see, is you driving in that car, getting pulled over because you're always driving fucking fast somewhere, and you go to get the insurance, and it's like this huge butt plug. Sorry,
Officer, would you like to check off some things off my checklist?
It's not mine. You don't need to search the rest of the car.
Oh my God.
Yes, I love men who have been caught cheating and their lies are just like, dude, the lies.
I would love to hear from everyone watching this episode. Tell us in comments, what is the craziest cheating lie you've ever been told?
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. Those take a minute because usually, they hurt first. Got to let those heal before you start cracking jokes about them. But
Oh, at this point, it's a joke. At the time, I felt a mixture of emotions because it felt, first of all, curiosity.
you're like, first of all, I did not know your asshole stretched that big.
We have been like in a bunch of sexual places and plays and play parties and Burning Man and all these different things.
Oh, you and him?
Together. Mm-hmm. This has never once come up or out.
Well, it could have been whoever he was with's butt plug. Maybe he likes to put the plug in somebody.
That has also never come up. So like
we're always monitoring his plugging. What have you been plugging today, dear? It's just my own asshole. We plug mine too, babe. Thanks. Fuck me. I'm sorry. You told me to just be myself. I'm sorry, Charles. I can't control myself. Zlata did it to me. She's like, I haven't done shit.
This was always there. Radical responsibility. All right, I'm going to put her out of her misery. Let's all take a deep breath.
Plug in, plug out.
Jesus Christ.
Finish your story.
I think it was finished.
Oh, okay. It's the eggplants. That's for sure. It's been on my mind like all day, and now it just came out. All of it came out.
All of it came out. Oh, it's really funny.
Wow. Yeah, butt plugs in your glove compartment. It's not a good place to keep it.
Also, don't keep sexual secrets from your partners.
Yeah, why?
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 Just be honest. Be truthful. How did you become honest and truthful with Charles about your sexual desires? Did you have a list of things? Or
that I wanted to do?
Or was he always guiding you into that path?
I think when Charles met me, because he had plenty more experience, he was like, this is a pent-up bitch, and I'm about to unleash, yeah, she's about to go crazy. And I did. And I mean, there was shit that I just hadn't been exposed to. Here's how exposed I was. So I was homeschooled before my parents got divorced, and I got thrown into public school in high school, right? And I went to a ghetto ass high school. Like, you took me from like sheltered home and dropped me into the ghetto, basically. And I had one friend who was kind of the same as I was. Her mom was like super protective. We hadn't experienced anything. We're sitting in class and we hear these girls that are sitting in front of us talking about these guys that ate them out. And my girlfriend and I look at each other and we're like, what the fuck do they just, is that like the weird way of saying took them to dinner? I don't get it. Eating him out? Like, that's how bad it was, dude. So sheltered and protected. And when I got married, it wasn't much better than that. So it's like I didn't even know sex was really supposed to feel good. It was just like, oh, you do this thing. Yeah. Like, I thought after I got married and lost my virginity, I was like, all those movies, those are lies. Fucking lies. Like, I thought that I had been, like, it was a joke. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. Like, I wanted fucking, what I saw in the movies.
I've had some seriously traumatizing experiences the first couple of times that I've had sex. So I can totally relate.
Yeah.
Because I went from being in Russia, right, where sex does not exist.
No one does it.
No one does it. No one has sex. Never had a conversation about sex with my parents, with my, nobody really. And I was 15 years old when I left, 15, 16. I was right on a cusp there. And it was just around when like kids started getting sexually active in my school at the time. And when I moved to the States, there was a really big disparity. Like kids in the US had a lot more knowledge and freedom and desire and like crazy pent up energy in comparison to like how it was in Russia. Yeah.
Sweet kids there. And then
I wouldn't say they were sweet. We're just not exposed at all. Very sheltered. And wasn't a discussion, wasn't a conversation. Like I knew that sex existed, but if you asked me how to do it, I don't think I would have known. And the first time I tried to have sex, a guy literally threw up on me.
What?
Yes, that happened. Because we were like, I don't know, drunk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, kids in school, especially in Russia, like you just, that's what you, like, I also went to, I actually had a break in my life where I experienced a lot of wealth with my family and a lot of spotlight because of my mom being a news anchor, a journalist. And we had a lot of wealth when I was growing up. And I was going to a really good school. I was in 2 schools. So I was in music academy and I was in a gymnasium, whatever, like private school essentially.
Schools, ladies and gentlemen, but no sex ed.
2 schools, no sex ed. And then when my mom moved to the US, I moved with my dad to Moscow. That's when I wasn't going to good school. I got accepted into that school because it was the only school that would accept anyone. And it was like all the kids who got kicked out of other schools.
Oh shit. Yeah. So reality, like, whoa.
Reality hit me really hard.
Yeah.
That's when the girls threw me down the stairs in high school. That's when it became not okay to shine.
Yeah.
That's because
That's when you learn to disappear.
That's when I learned to disappear myself. And I was like, oh, note to self, don't shine.
Just disappear.
Just disappear. Mom was right.
That kind of happened. Yeah, that kind of happened to me there too. At like the school I told you about. Just don't be observed.
Yeah, that trauma still lives with us, right? We have to let go of so much of the.
Does this look like I don't want to be observed? Girl, I'm all about the observe now. I'm like, these shoes deserve to be seen.
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more
in this outfit. Yeah,
you can observe me.
We can be observed now. We grew out of it.
Look, can't touch though,
unless you're willing to wear a pink apron and naked cook her dinner. Maybe
send an email.
Fill out your 9-page email.
That's make a form.
That's the coolest thing about that. Now you have it and you can use it.
I'm a queen of forms.
Yes, you like forms.
I love a good form.
You do, and you're good at them. But
Thank you.
That doesn't have anything to do with sex.
Yeah.
Sexy forms.
So where were we?
I don't remember. You'd asked some question.
Oh, I was talking about how I didn't have any sex ed. And the first sexual experience I had was a guy who almost threw up on me. Not fun.
Yeah.
Not cool. And I think we've had so many traumatizing experience. Like a lot of my girlfriends have very similar traumatizing experiences where kids are just not.
They don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I wouldn't say like my first husband was traumatizing. It was just boring as fuck. Like I was that like, okay, if I'm going to get off, I have to do this. And so it's like, if I was in the mood to do the work, then I would. If I wasn't, and it's like, okay, well, it's not what I thought it was going to be. So I was very disappointed. I felt like I'd been hoodwinked. I was like, married for what? Like, this is what I got married for? Like, I don't understand. Like, how is this what's going to make you go to hell? Because it's just not that great. Like, okay. And then I met Charles and I was like, oh, you're the one I'd go to hell for.
Oh, you were taking me to hell, honey.
That sounds lovely. Like, yeah. So, I mean, I never gave him a list. That's what you asked me. Did I have a list of fantasies? No, I just knew I wanted to be free. Whatever it was, I didn't want to be caged because I knew I didn't know enough to know what do I want. So I wanted to be free to try it all. And so the fact that Charles was willing to be my best friend and friend with benefits and let me do whatever I wanted, he didn't have to control me. He didn't care. He's like, do whatever makes you happy. And that was so freeing to me. I'd never experienced a man not wanting to own me. I was a possession. You own it. That's your wife. That's your girlfriend. I didn't want it. I just wanted to be me and I wanted to be free to experience that.
That's how I got into on the concept of open relationships. And that's when I started trying it because I realized that I was possessive and I realized that men were possessing me as well.
So did you do it to try to expand yourself?
100%.
Wow. Okay, 100%. Let's get into this.
Yeah, I would love to. It's a very valuable conversation because a woman with no sex ed who had gone through some really interesting transitions with double digits on vacations, right? Like I knew that my sex life was skewed, right? Not skewed, but I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. It wasn't for connection. It was for release or control or either one. So
I think some of those are, that's what normal human needs and desires. Yeah.
No shame in my game.
I don't think so.
I don't feel ashamed for that. I'm just like, it's not what I would.
It wasn't the ultimate.
It wasn't
like,
the ultimate.
Sometimes sex is just because I want to get off. Like, I can't help it. I'm like, sorry, babe. I like really. And then sometimes sex is, I love you so much. I want to connect with you, And that's my way of showing him connection. I don't know. How does that make you feel?
Sometimes I want somebody to just literally fuck the bullshit out of me.
Yeah.
Because I've just had a really long day, a really long launch, a really long thing, like that where I really gave a lot of my energy. I just like, and I also noticed that the way that I desire sex and the desires for sex are different based on my cycle.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm in a phase of my cycle right before my period, that's the only time I physically desire like
aggression
and sex. Like I really want it. Like I just really want you to pick me up and like just pin me against the wall or something. Yeah, just do it.
That's strange because I think I'm the same way, same time frame.
And on my period, it's completely different. I want to be loved. I want to be cuddled. Be sweet to me. And then, in the luteal phase, I'm like, I'm reflective. I'm again a little bit more airy fairy. And during when I'm in
ovulating,
I always misspell that word. That's when I feel sexy. That's when like give me lingerie and give me all the play and give me all the toys and give me a play party. I want to try it all. Yeah. And then like I start PMSing and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I just kind of pull back into yourself.
Give me a blankie.
Yeah, give you a blankie, maybe some soft dick on the side.
And that could be really confusing for a guy. Like yesterday she wanted this. Today she wants that. Yeah. And then when I do it rough and then she's like, oh, you're hurting me.
Yep.
So if I would take notes if you were a guy listening to this.
If you were a guy, this is really good because most women can't even explain it to you. But I think that a lot of the things, like every single thing that you said was spot on for me too, as far as a type of sex that I want at that time. I think it has to do with our hormones. I don't think it's like, oh, me and Zlata just synced up and we both like the same sex. No, it's your hormones. Your hormones are dictating what feels good to you and why. And these things, I mean, there's so many books on it, which are totally cool. In the Flow is one that's really good that describes this content.
In the Flow is a good book. I would love to have the founder on the show.
Oh my gosh, we will. Alice, I believe. Yeah, I have. She's on my list. But so I think that if you're a man, take note. And then you can start testing these theories out on whatever girl you're with. If you really love her, you want to take care and you really want to think about these things.
This is in my manual.
Oh, of course.
I have a pie chart.
How your cycle works?
Yes. It is. It's a calendar. It's a calendar. You gotta be in sync.
Yeah. Yeah. We are complicated. Oftentimes when I think about like all this stuff, I feel a little bit bad for guys. I'm like, well, you were born with such an easy life. You wake up every day knowing who you are. And so then God gave you us. You need a Rubik's Cube, don't you?
You need a Rubik's Cube. And then every time you figure out the rules, I flip them.
Yeah. I don't flip them. When Charles turns around, I move my stickers. I'm like, I know you thought it was an algorithm, but...
I don't feel women are that difficult to figure out when we have figured ourselves out and we can communicate about these things.
Of course. So, but how many of us are truly figured out?
Well, it took me 10 years and $500,000 to tell you this with confidence.
Yeah. But don't you still think that you're evolving and changing?
Oh, always.
Exactly. So have you really figured you out?
I'm really curious about, all the adventures that are to come with this man or any other man. Like, I'm really excited. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I finally overcame that anxiety of finding a man to like take care of me or build a life with me or whatever. And I'm now focused on something completely different in my dating and love life. Which is having a good time. And
that's fabulous.
Respecting my partner for the amazing man that he is, or respecting the man that I'm with. He may not even be my partner, right? And being loved and cherished and creating memories together. My last partnership really turned my world upside down because I put my life, my livelihood, my career into the hands of somebody else who over the weekend of us building a beautiful relationship and living together, just all of a sudden decided that he doesn't want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. As I was standing with like my like breaking my lease on one hand and my phone on the phone with him on the other hand, and then him saying, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, well, what changed?
Yeah.
48 hours. And I was so devastated because I thought I finally found the fantasy I'd been looking for of a guy that's going to take care of me and this amazing entrepreneur, and I can take a breath and I don't have to be running and building and all this different stuff. I don't really know what I was thinking, right? I know what I was thinking. I really wanted to let somebody drive for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that he was going to be able to do that for me. But after we broke up, that fantasy melted off real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had cracked the code that I was really unconsciously sabotaging myself and waiting for someone to save me and give me this amazing life. And then I was like,
He was looking for someone to save.
I'm the man I've been looking for. I can take myself on vacation. I can fly myself first class. I can build this business and I can do all these amazing things that I want to do. Not because I don't need no man. Like, that's not because of that. I love men. Men are amazing. But like in Cher's words, you don't need them to live. Like, I'm quoting Cher now.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I think it's really just knowing you.
And I feel it's a lot of responsibility to place on another person to be your saving, like, knight in shining armor and to be saving you.
Yeah. It's not logical.
But it is logical. There is a fantasy where a woman is like, oh, when you haven't been around single women.
Oh,
a lot.
Not like you have. Yes, I agree with you. Not like you.
Do you know how often I hear a woman say, well, when I get married, my husband's going to be rich and then we're going to do that. He's going to afford that. He's going to afford that house. He's going to afford that vacation. He's going to afford that thing.
Oh, so that's how you manifest. Damn.
I'm like,
You just manifest the man that brings all the things you want.
but then what she has done, she's actually not gotten any closer to what she wants because she has taken full responsibility off herself to be the woman who creates that life for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's in the hands of some imaginary person.
So it's in no one's hands.
It's in no one's hands.
driving.
It's a delay tactic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then she's also just like taken all the, she just has taken all the responsibility off herself.
Yeah. So there will be no result.
There will be no result.
No.
And what makes you think that a guy that you're with will want to do that? The other day, this woman told me this nonsense. Well, I want to start a business, but I'm just going to wait for a rich husband. Then he's going to invest in my business.
Maybe.
But what if a man is a good business brain, good provider, and has invested in companies before, and let's say hypothetically has money, have you become the woman and have you built a business that he wants to invest in? Because neither are you taking responsibility for your life, nor are you becoming the woman that that man would want.
Oh yeah, that's to me.
I think Elisha is floored that these are the conversations that are happening in the single woman world.
Yeah, I can't believe it because I have one of those men. He wouldn't give you another look. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're 10 years younger than me. You know why? Because he doesn't want to deal with that. He doesn't want to deal with a woman who's not chasing your dreams. You know why I was different from the 250 before me with Charles? Because I was chasing my dreams. And there wasn't a man attached to my dream. And that was so attractive to him that he didn't care that we weren't going to get married. He didn't care about any of that, but he wanted to be by me. Like, this woman is headed somewhere. We weren't even on the same paths. That's okay. We were just in entrepreneurship and we had drive. And he could watch me work and he was like, I've never met a woman that matched me. So we found a teammate. And it wasn't doing the same things. He wasn't baking cupcakes. But he saw the drive and the effort and the care. And he saw that I didn't need a man by my side to do it. So, and that was so attractive to him because he knew he could add to me, but I didn't need him.
He knew that you were a woman, not a girl.
Yeah. I was willing to do what it took.
And that's the difference between a woman and a girl. A girl is going to have dreams and have goals and have all these things she wants to do. And when this happens, I will get rich and blah, blah, blah. A woman says, you know what? I'm going to go do that now.
Yeah.
Roll up your sleeves, put your Louboutins on, and let's go.
Yeah.
Because you know your strength. You know that you can create anything. And sometimes, like for me, it was so unconscious for me. It was so in the back of my mind because of my upbringing or however many, Disney tales I watched as a girl, I didn't realize I was even doing it me, and I always thought it was self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But the way that lesson was served up to me whipped me in shape real quick.
Yeah, that was the last time you had to learn it.
And that's the last time I had to learn it, because from there on out, it became about my happiness, my life, my community, my interest, the music that I wanted to create, the festivals I wanted to go to. And now, instead of my main relationship, like my life used to huddle around a guy. Like if I was in a relationship, that was the main relationship, and I would have my career, and that was the thing that I did. Now, ever since that lesson, when I literally stepped into being a woman, now I'm like, okay, this is my life. I love my life. I love LA. I love my community. I love my music. I love all these things. These are my friends. You need to fit into the life that I already love, versus me constantly having to change my life for you.
Yeah, and it's not about, for me, it's not even about a fit. It's about a melding. It's bringing together two pieces of artwork and then finding a way to brush away that middle line. So you can't tell where their life ends and yours begins because you're sharing it together. But you don't give up the rest of your painting. It's still a Monet. Like, are you fucking kidding me? We put them together, but you have your side still, right? And he has his. It gets messy if you're going to divide that afterwards. It's painful. But I think that's the way to do it.
What's painful to sell a Monet?
Yeah, you don't do that. Sometimes Monet kicks you to the curb, though.
Sometimes a Monet cheats on you when you're pregnant.
No, I was the Monet in that regard, and I kicked him to the curb. Like, nah, we're not doing that anymore.
So when do you know when to leave someone?
I feel like that's such a personal thing. I mean, I can share my experiences with normal men that I wasn't interested in pursuing relationships with when I got bored. I'm like, okay, well, you're boring now. So thanks. Nice to meet you. We'll talk to you later.
Describe boring.
Boring. Actually, that's a really good question. And as you said it, I really honed in on it. It's when I found out you were closed-minded.
Ooh.
Done. I don't care where I don't care what area of your life I found it in. It's whenever I heard you say it. And I was like, oh, you think you know everything.
Ooh, that's a big one for me.
I don't like it. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. There are things, for instance, on your list that, like, that's a hard no for me. It doesn't even intrigue me to try that. But as far as being open-minded, I want to be open-minded. I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm not even the same person I was last month, because I expect myself to grow. So if I expect that out of myself, then I have to have that in a partner. So I don't mind if you have opinions. I love people to have opinions, but I care even more so about people that are willing to look at the future and envision what it could be, or what someone else could be feeling or thinking. Or that's so much more intriguing and fun to me than somebody who knows everything about everything. It's like, it's still just your fucking opinion. Yeah, so that's how I knew it was done. Oh, with my ex-husband, I knew it was done when I wanted to slap him. I was like, oh, not wanted to, I did. And I was like, wow, I've disrespected you in a manner that, like, to me is unacceptable. And if I'm willing to do that, then it's done. I don't love you. I don't respect you. The respect is completely gone.
And you saw the dark side of yourself.
Yeah.
You saw the dark feminine.
Girl.
There have been men in my life that have driven me to this point where I was like, oh, the dark feminine is coming out. I don't like her. She does not come out.
I didn't even know what to call it, but I remember the instance that it happened so vividly. My daughter had been born and I was trying to make it work, and he was yapping behind my shoulder. I'm sure I had been a bitch, because I was not. Like, ice cold Persian. You don't piss Persians off. They're the sweetest people in the world.
Russians.
You piss them off, you're dead to me. So I'm changing my daughter's diaper, and he's yapping in the background.
Slap him with a diaper?
No, but she's sitting there, and I'm finishing changing her diaper, and I told him, back off. Just back off. And he didn't. He came closer, and I was like, I swear to God, I will slap you. And he like, I guess he was pushing, testing, whatever. I turned around and slapped him, and then I was like, and we're getting divorced. It's over. Like, I don't want to see that side of me, because if that's, like, what's the next step? You know?
You crossed your own boundary. You crossed your own threshold.
You shouldn't. I don't feel like you should ever lay your hand on someone that you respect. So, yeah, that was hard for me, because I had to, like, I know why I did that, but
lately, thank you so much for sharing, because that's a really big
That's a like super not proud of myself moment. Because regardless what you did, it didn't
willing
matter.
to forgive yourself for that one?
Oh yeah. I think that I needed to know it was done, and I wasn't seeing it any other way. Too forgiving, I was still in that, okay, you trashed it, I can try to make it work for the kids, can you believe I even ever said that? For my kids, I would try to show them what a marriage is
believe
like,
you.
where someone disrespects you and you take them back. There are people that do it, and it's okay because maybe there was something more there, but for me there was not more there. And so I was going to keep learning that lesson, and I guess my subconscious knew that if you disrespect them, it's over. And so it was.
I love that you are referencing your subconscious as in manifesting that, right? Like, because you needed to take it all the way to the edge. And I know you're a really big fixer. And I know you can make a lot of things work. And I've seen you do it in our business partnership, in our business relationship, to where you're constantly working on improving things. And it seems to me that you realize that somewhere subconsciously, you realized that it was time to cut your losses, and you weren't now the best person for your kids and for yourself. And it was best to cut the ties and cut the relationship where it is, no matter how difficult it seemed, because you literally have a newborn. And I don't know many women who would do that.
Leave?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that it was the biggest gift. Him actually cheating on me, I never would have left, because I had that Christian, you gave your word, and what he did really let me out of it. I'm like, you broke the contract. I'm just walking away. You already broke it. So it gave me the freedom to start a new life. And I can't even, in my new life, I'm so thankful that I got there, because I can't imagine if I had stayed in that for 30, 40, 80, whatever, how many years. Whoa, so worth it.
I'm a big believer that every partnership shapes you in a way that you haven't even imagined. And these are the soul contracts coming into your life to teach you something. I have left long-term relationships, short-term relationships, even situationships or couple dates with something inside of me being activated, or something inside of me being confirmed, or something inside of me being sparked, this traumatic
and amazing all in one. That's that word.
Traumatic.
Yeah, I like it. That's a lot of ism.
It's an ism. I was going to say tremendous and amazing.
Oh, tremendous.
So I dated this photographer briefly, who really opened up love for photography within me in a new way. I already loved black and white photography. I was a huge Helmut Newton fan, and I have prints in my home. But the way that he loved what he did and how he did it, how he still does it, it was a gateway for me to learn more about it in a new way. And
see it from a different perspective.
And so many women I know treat a relationship that failed in their eyes as a failure, right? Like, oh, this was a huge failure. And what I wish more women looked at as a relationship, as a learning lesson, a part of yourself that got activated and got passionate about something. What did you learn? It would be a lot easier to date in this day and age if we looked at it that way, where you get to see positive shifts in yourself as you are dating more people and activating more parts of yourself.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I love it. Everyone is an experience.
I have an NFT dream, and we'll have an NFT expert on the podcast. I want to launch a series of prints. I want to do a series of prints that are about love, about how love shaped me, like self-portraits of after, who did I become as a result of this relationship?
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, I really want to do that. I already have 2 prints, and I believe it's going to be a collection of 8.
Wow.
So I will let you guys know when it launches, but it's a personal project that's not attached to anything commercial, which I believe is really important for arts, and it's, a collaboration with other people. So yeah, it really opened me up to new things. That relationship really did. Yeah.
It's so unique. I think that's the most fun. That's probably why Charles and I was so intrigued with him, because there were so many new things to think about, to talk about, to do together, to experience. And so he just broadened my horizons. And I appreciated that, because I didn't see a cage. I never saw a cage with him.
You know what's really interesting? That the more I have been dating, the more the fact that are you opening up my horizons?
Yeah.
Are you helping me?
Are you expanding?
Are you
Yourself and me.
expanding? And that's what I find boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was on a date with this guy who was great, perfectly fine fella. And
From Texas?
no, he was Canadian.
Oh, Canadian.
He was a Canadian guy.
Nice and proper.
Not, he wasn't proper. He was fun. He was like, he was
a good guy, good fella.
He was a good fella. So for me, the sense of respect comes with, are you really good at business? Like I love being able to run with my partner. I want to be like the two of us who are running with the wolves. I want to be able for us to build a legacy, to create something together. So I asked him a question on a date that pertained to my business, and it was a test. And based on how he responded, I would know whether we would continue or not, because we had fun, we shared our memories, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw in a test of whether or not this may work in the future. He spent 40 minutes going round and around an answer, said a lot of words, but not a lot of substance, even though it was perfectly in his wheelhouse and skill set. And that moment, I felt all of the connection, all of the energy just go.
Why?
Because
Why do you think that happened?
I knew I wouldn't be able to respect him.
No. Why do you think that happened with him? If it was perfectly set up for him in his wheelhouse, what do you think what was the issue? He didn't want to share the info, or he didn't have the info?
I think he was more interested in pleasing me with words than actually giving me a straight answer. That's my interpretation now. I mean, we can call him right now and ask him.
I mean, don't say it if you want.
Okay, I'm not going to do
Yeah,
it.
okay.
I ain't got balls for that.
I'm not ever a fan of games. So,
Oh, do you think that was a game, what I did?
I think it is a game.
Ooh.
You're testing him.
I am testing him.
Yeah.
You never tested Charles?
No, I didn't have blind tests for him. I just let him live.
Huh.
And I observed. Do I like what I'm observing? Does that match my standards? Are our values aligning? And if they didn't, I would stop. And I mean, Charles and I stopped a couple times. I was just like, meh, go do your thing. Like something wasn't aligning. But whenever that something got in alignment, then we were always right back at each other's sides. So yeah, I'm more of a fan of observation.
Really interesting. I like a little test.
Yeah. I'm curious if they work though.
That worked.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I know. I have to play devil's advocate here because depending on how well you guys knew each other, you know, where he was, what had happened earlier, that you don't know all the outlying factors. So it's like, did it work, or could there have? My fear would be that you're losing out on something good because they aren't sure of what they should give you.
I guess how I can reconcile that is what is mine will always be mine.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Right.
Like, you don't have to, it'll come back around if it needs to.
And I had observed that same reaction a couple times
from
him.
Oh,
so, and then I threw in the
this was
fishing
your, like,
pole.
make or break.
And I do test men. And I do, and whether it's good or bad or right
What
or
other
wrong.
tests are there? I'm like, and I'm curious, what other tests do we have going on here?
Well,
That's not true. I test them in bed. Okay.
You test them. I have a test where I will bring my new guy around my friend group, and my friend group has really handsome, stellar fellas.
Oh, good.
And I will just be totally myself, maybe a little bit flirtier than usual.
Just more in your feminine.
Yeah, and I just watch what the guy does. And I had a guy totally flip. Like, you don't respect me. What were you doing? And I was like, I was just talking. And I'm like, and this is the last time I'm going to see you.
Yeah.
So I created the triage. I mean, that's kind of a really simple manipulation tactic. So this is me.
What other tests? I'm like, okay, there's a test. What other tests are going on here that I missed out on? Although I feel like I still caught a good one. I'm like, I didn't test him that way. But what are they? Like, that's a good one. Okay.
So I will
I'm curious, like your girlfriend's test too. Like, this is a thing then.
I
it,
don't test my
guys.
girlfriends.
No. What test do your other girlfriends that are single do?
Oh my God.
I know. I'm like, give me like, what's going
I
on
don't
out
actually
here?
know what my girlfriends do. I've never told anyone I test men.
Oh, really? I feel like I've heard women say this before. Like this is a common thing.
This is a comment section right here.
Yeah.
Ladies, how do you test men? Tell us.
Yeah. If you're testing them, let me know. I found in tests or withholding of information, I rarely got what I wanted. So, for instance, I could test Charles. If he loves me, he'll plan these dates because we've talked about it. And
Oh
I
no, that's
do
not
it.
a test.
Like, yeah, to me,
That's an expectation.
yeah, I would rather just be like, babe, I really would love to do this.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
If he loved me, he would.
Oh,
And it's like, no, if you don't clearly communicate what you want or what you need, he's not gonna read your mind.
yeah. But
That is what plagues so many relationships.
Yeah.
Women expect men to be mind readers, but they have no idea that they would have provided that. And by the way, they would happily do it because all they really want is for you to be happy.
Yes,
So just communicate what you need.
good men, that is truly what I found. All they want is for you to be happy.
That was my biggest breakthrough with men. I realized they wanted me to be happy.
Yeah.
And all I needed to do was to communicate what makes me happy.
Exactly. And making you happy makes their day. It's still shocking to me sometimes when I think about it. Like, he really just wants to see me smile. And like, that's it. Tell him I'm satisfied. Really? That's all I have to do? And you'll do all of that to make it happen? Okay, great.
Appreciation is best lubrication.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Whatever type of lube you like. I agree with that one. Okay. So the testing thing, I want to know. Like, come on, ladies, put it in the comments.
And you bet that I'm going to be driving home tonight thinking whether or not I want to continue doing that.
Yeah.
Because, these things, they fester inside. If you are not sharing what you're thinking about, it will fester. I think that's how people really give themselves anxiety and depression. That's how I used to give myself anxiety and depression. But then when you build an awareness around the thought,
It dissipates.
I now built an awareness around the thought that I test men. And is it fair? Does it work for me?
Yeah.
Would
What
I
do you
want to
gain?
be tested
Yeah.
if I were somebody's partner? I don't know. I'll think about that.
Such a cool, that's what I love about you. So to me, that's open-mindedness. You're willing to say what you do and what you think has worked for you before, but you're also willing to say, I'm willing to see a different perspective. And if it's better, if I feel that perspective is better for me, I'm willing to put this down and pick that up. Great. Or put it all down and not pick up anything, take some time. I think that's to me the most pleasant way to live. Peaceful, fun, easy.
I'm not stuck in one identity. And I pay for that.
Yeah.
I'm living life of a lot of different iterations and courageously iterating. And I've left careers, partnerships, money on the table because I knew that the energy was moving me forward to iterate to something new. And you can look at my astrological chart or whatever it's connected to, doesn't really matter. You can tell that I will be living a bunch of different lives within this life. And I just courageously choose to pursue being more and more open-minded, call it my Aquarius moon or my Aquarius rising or my Aquarius everything in 11th house. Like if you know astrology, you'll get off on that. Alicia's like, oh, what are we talking about?
I mean, I read a book of what my stuff is and I'm like, that's cool. It sounds like me. That's really creepy.
I've never pulled up your chart. We should pull up your chart on air.
Okay, fine. I mean, I'll be fine with that. I know it fit me. I got given a book. Like they asked me, my friend asked me when my birthday was and like time and where I was born. And I was like, whatever. Just give her the info. And then she got me this really cool book for my birthday. And I just had never been into it. I don't have anything against it. I just never gotten involved in it. And so I took the time to read the book and I was just like, holy shit, this is so me. So it's kind of crazy. And then the best match for me is Charles. He happened to be like, I don't remember. It's what it is, November 7th, whatever his is.
Charles a Scorpio?
I don't know. It's November
That's a
7th.
Scorpio, right? November 7th?
I think so.
That's a Scorpio.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. And I'm a Capricorn.
Very Charles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo, girl.
And we're like best matched together. And I was like, oh, no shit. Guess I figured that one out. And I didn't test it either.
Scorpios are freaks.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
no
Freaky,
idea.
deaky,
I'll be for you,
baby. Definitely. I love a good Scorpio.
Me too.
Me too, she goes.
Turn off.
All right. All right. I keep making you blush.
Seriously, dude. That's a good show though, right? Is
That's
that
a good show.
Melding?
If I'm not crying or you're not squirming in the way that you just were, we're just going to re-record, right?
We already know we do that. It's like trash that one, the whole episode. We need new outfits, new makeup, new lipstick,
Do everything.
it's a new coffee. I think that was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Very good show. Please let us know in comments and write us a review.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Was that good to you? I know it was wild. The beginning of that ride was
Beginning of that ride was quite a ride.
wet and wild.
Wet and wild. All right, ladies, until next time.
Yes, until next time. Mwah.